Seasonin. It's the foundation of Trinbagonian cuisine. The fusion of African, Indian, Creole, Chinese, European, Amerindian and Latin American gastronomies produce the rich melting pot cuisine of Trinidad and Tobago. Like Sofrito and Recaito are synonymous to Spain, Portugal and Latin America, and epis in Haiti, pesto in Italy, and jerk in Jamaica, green seasoning is synonymous to Trinidad and Tobago as well as other islands in the Caribbean. The recipe varies in each household, but it's the not-so-secret ingredient in all of our tasty dishes. Many Puerto Rican chefs refer to Sofrito as the green gold. Caribbean green seasoning is a combination of herbs and aromatics, and it's used as a marinade for meats, seafood, vegetables, and as a natural flavor enhancer in all of our dishes. Join me in the kitchen today as I share my version of seasoning. While I love a basic seasoning with only shadow benny, garlic, and pimento or seasoning peppers, I love adding a combination of various herbs to enhance the potency of the seasoning. The most important herb in my green seasoning is the bandania or shadow benny. This is used extensively in Trinbagonian cuisine, and it's what differentiates the seasoning from other islands. Find this in your Asian supermarket as nogai or sawtooth coriander, and in the Latin market as Recaito or culantro. Use cilantro as a substitute if it isn't available. I'm also using some cilantro. This is called coriander, dania, or Chinese parsley. These leaves have a lemon-lime taste and they add a lovely flavor to the seasoning blend. Next, I have some chive as we call it in Trinbago. It's also known as scallion or green onions. Here's some parsley. This is the Italian flat leaf parsley and it adds a nice clean earthy flavor to the seasoning. If you notice, cilantro and parsley look quite similar, but the cilantro leaves are much more delicate. Garlic is one of my favorite ingredients to use. I think I use garlic in every single dish I cook. It's so healthy and it adds a nice pungency to the seasoning. I'm also using some fine thyme. You can use the broadleaf thyme or pudina if you want. I don't use it a lot in my cooking, but if you do, feel free to add a few leaves to your seasoning. Curry leaves or carapile leaves can also be used if you're using this seasoning to make a curry dish. Shout out to Ryan Sweethand for this amazing chopping board. I love it so much. Make sure you all are subscribed to his channel. I'll leave the link in the description box below. Now for the peppers. You need some seasoning peppers that have lots of flavor but mild to no heat. In Trinbago, we use pimento peppers and they're so tasty and they add a unique flavor to food. If you live outside of the Caribbean and you can't find it, use Fresno chilies or even jalapeno or serrano chilies or even ají dulce peppers. Here I'm using some serrano as well as some Thai bird's eye chili peppers along with some pimentos that I got from my auntie's garden. Most of the time I also add hot peppers to my seasoning, but if you have little ones, it's better to add the pepper straight to the dish you're cooking. And these peppers freeze well, so I buy them in bulk when I can and I store them in freezer bags. The herbs can also be stored for a while in the refrigerator without going bad. Check out my video on preserving fresh herbs. It's linked in the upper right hand corner as well as in the description box below. The first step is to wash the herbs and aromatics thoroughly. To do this, I'm using some white vinegar, sea salt, and some water. First, wash everything thoroughly, especially the herbs. The cilantro and parsley usually have a lot of grit and dirt in it, and we have to make sure that's washed out first. Once the water runs clean and the leaves are nice and clean, now it's time to let it soak. Add 1 tablespoon of salt and 1 cup of vinegar to 4 cups of water. Add it to the water first and then add the herbs in. I did everything back to front here, right? It did its job though. Soak for about 15 minutes, drain and rinse again. Do this step for all the herbs and aromatics. Now that it's clean, cut up everything into smaller pieces. Peel the garlic and remove the thyme leaves from the woody stems. If the stems are soft, you can add it in. Now it's time to chop or blend everything. I love a chunky green seasoning, so I like using this mini chopper. You can blend it also, but you'll need to add some water, which will result in a more pureed, smooth green seasoning. Make it how you like it. Here's something I've been using to make my seasonings in bulk. It's an attachment for my stand mixer, and I usually use it to grind dal for dal puri or to grind garlic to freeze. Since the pandemic started, I always like keeping a good stock of garlic on hand. And now I also like to freeze the green seasoning for the times that I don't get to go to the grocery store for weeks. This grinder makes the seasoning a little bit more runny and wet because it compresses the liquid out of it. That's gold right there. Ensure that the seasoning is mixed well so it has an even balance of all the ingredients we added. Store in a glass jar in the fridge, and for me the longest I'll keep the seasoning in the fridge is about 2 days. I prefer to make it fresh for every meal. Due to the pandemic and the scarcity of pandania sometimes, I always like keeping some in the freezer. Here I'm dating and labeling a freezer bag and filling it with 1 cup of green seasoning. Flatten it and try to get the air out, so when you're ready to use it, you just have to break off these. I demonstrated this in another video that's linked in the description box. You can also store it in ice trays. It's actually easier to do this when the seasoning is smoother and wet. Cover with plastic film and freeze, and once it's frozen, pop the blocks out into a freezer bag. And that's how I make my green seasoning. Now use it to season meat, fish and veggies, and you can even use it as a flavor enhancer in your one-pot meals. Here's how the seasoning and garlic look when it's completely frozen. I just use a cube or I break a piece off and it works great. For me, fresh is always best, but this method has been a lifesaver during the months I didn't go to the grocery store. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've learned something new today. If you enjoyed the video, give it a big thumbs up, share your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe and ring the bell to stay updated. Keep well and stay safe. Until next time. Bye!